Today on Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, we're looking at how to play Milton Bradley's Heroscape. So this is an army card, and every hero or group of heroes has their own individual army card with various stats on it, as you can see. Here we're going to use Agent Carr as an example, and I'll go through all of the important facts on the card. So using Agent Carr here as our example, he has 5 movement, meaning he can move 5 spaces. He has a range attack, meaning he can shoot up to 6 spaces. He takes 2 dice for his attack, 4 for defense, and he costs 100 points. He also has 4 wounds, which means he can take 4 wounds before dying. So on the left of the card, we have a few more things to see. Here we have he's a human, he's a unique hero, which means he's his own person. He's an agent and tricky, which don't really mean much, but are keywords for maybe expansions. And he's medium size 5, meaning he's 5 in height. Every card has its own unique abilities. I won't go through everyone here because every card has their own unique ones, but safe to say they're explained on the card in this central section here. Some army cards are unit cards, meaning that they have more than one model attached to them. In this case, it has 3 models, but they all act on activating this one army card. So if you use an action to activate it, you activate them all. When drafting an army, both players roll a dice. In this case, player 1 rolls 7 and player 2 rolls 16. The person with the highest roll then gets to pick the first card to be drafted into his army. Both groups agree upon a game of 400 points each. So player 2 decides to pick Deathwalker. Then player 1 decides to go with the Magcraver group, which costs 100 points. And then player 1 also gets to pick the Elf, because the second player gets to pick 2 cards. Player 2 picks the Zetian Guards. Player 1 picks Mimring the Dragon. Player 2 picks Nungukso. Player 1 picks the Vikings. And finally, player 2 picks Agent Carr. So we end up with both teams looking like so. Both of them have spent 400 points, so it's an equal teams, and the match will be equal even if the number of miniatures aren't the same. First of all, we need to place our order markers on our army cards. Here, each card has got a marker on it. However, player 2 has decided to place 2 markers on Deathwalker, so he can activate him on his first round of activations, and provided he isn't killed before the 3rd activation, he can activate him again, so therefore getting him 2 moves. Next, each of the teams get to roll an initiative dice to see who goes first moving a piece. In this case, the first player gets to move first as he rolled a higher number than the second player. So the winning player reveals which unit he gave his first order marker to by tipping it up like so. So the other player can see that that is who he had chosen for his first activation. Units always move and then attack. They can never attack and then move. So looking at this card, he's going to move, and he has got a movement of 5 spaces. So Deathwalker starts here, and he has a movement of 5 spaces. So for his first move, he moves here, and for his second move, he moves here. Now for his third move, he wants to move up. So we count how many rises there are. 1, 2, and 1 to go on top. That would be 3. So it costs 3 to move up onto the next space, which would make his full 5 movement. So using his 3 movement that he's got left, he moves up here and ends up on this little rise. In this example, Deathwalker decides he wants to walk into the water tile. So he has 5 movement, but as soon as he reaches that water, he has to stop. Now that he's in this water space, next turn he decides he wants to move into this space. This counts as his whole movement and he cannot move anymore. When moving up levels, you can only move up to the level of your height. So Agent Carr here wants to climb onto the top of this peak. Now, we have to look at his card to see if he's able to. It's a 6 high peak, and we can see that he's a medium 5 height piece. So he can't make it to the top of this, so he cannot climb it because it's taller than his 5 height. So in this example, Agent Carr here wants to move, but he has his own people behind him. We look at his movement and it's a 5, so he can move 5 spaces. So his first movement can move him over a friendly character, as long as he doesn't finish on it. Number 2, we'll move him here. 3, 4, and he would have 1 movement left, but he doesn't want to use that. In the following example of movement, we're activating these Zetian guards. There are 2 miniatures on this army card, so we get to activate both, like so. So we're moving the 2 guards. Move 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. Now we move the other guard 1, 2, and we can move both of these because there are 2 miniatures on the army card. 3, and into the water, which will automatically end its turn because it was moved into water, even if it had movement points left. But as you can see, if there are more miniatures than 1 on an army card, you can activate both of the miniatures. In this example of movement, Agent Carr is going to try and move past the elf. So he moves his 1, 2, and now he's adjacent to the elf. So because he's adjacent, if he tries to move away, the elf will get a free strike with 1 dice to try and hit him. So in this case, Agent Carter tries to move backwards and the elf gets to swing, but unfortunately he misses. The adjacent passing swipe rule doesn't count if the elf is up on a higher level, or whoever is up on a higher level. So Agent Carter can walk past the elf here because the elf is up on a higher level. Therefore, he isn't actually adjacent to the figure because he's too high up to swing down at him for free. Lastly, we have flying miniatures. Here we have a movement of 6 on this one. So she can fly from here into the water and move out of the water without losing her movement because she's flying. She can also fly over Agent Carr here because she's flying. And she can also move up terrain and down terrain without having to worry about how high it is because she's flying. But in the end, she has to finish on the ground level. Savaris the elf wants to attack Agent Carr here in this example. So we look at the card. He has a range of 9 spaces, so he can shoot up to 9 spaces away, which is quite far. So we count the spaces: 1, 2, 3, 4. So easily within range. Next, we check for line of sight. There is nothing blocking the sight from the elf to Agent Carr. There's no friendly models or anything, so therefore he can shoot with easy line of sight and can hit Agent Carr. Savaris attacks, so he shakes 3 dice to attack Agent Carr. So we get the 3 dice. But he is on elevated ground. He's between 1 and 9 higher, so he gets 1 extra dice. If he had been 10 or higher, he'd get 2 extra dice. But for now, he gets 1 extra dice to his attack on Agent Carr. So Savaris has rolled 2 skulls, a shield, and a blank. Only the 2 skulls count here because he's attacking. Now, Agent Carr gets to roll his defense, which is 4 dice as seen here. So he shakes his dice and he gets 2 skulls, a shield, and a blank. Because he's defending, we get rid of anything that isn't shields, leaving 2 skulls for Savaris and 1 shield for Agent Carr. Which means that Agent Carr has taken 1 wound 2 wounds, take away 1 equals 1, therefore 1 wound. Agent Card decides to attack the elf back. The elf will get +1 defense because he's on higher ground. The +1 goes to the elf's defense and attack because he's on raised ground. The final thing to remember is, here Sylvaris is engaged with Grishnak, and he can only attack Grishnak. He couldn't fight Deathwalker because he's already fighting someone else. Double base minis move a single move for each space on their movement, like so. Also, a double base miniature can attack from either of its double bases. In other words, it can attack any of these miniatures in any of these spaces. It doesn't have to be just from the ones facing forward. The final thing to do is move the round tracker 1 forward. Some games have a limited amount of time to get things done. Other games are a bit more open. But that's it. So I hope you enjoyed my quick how to play of Heroscape. If you have this game, it's quite fun and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope this has helped you in some way play it. As you can see by the length of this video, there aren't a great deal of rules to learn it, so it's a good game for beginners. So until next time, I hope you have fun playing the games, and goodbye.